It's super late. It's about 1:40. I'm Kendrick. Welcome to Providence Tarot. Leo and Aries, end of the month of June. I'm doing the end of the month because I'm a little behind, obviously, as I went on vacation at the end of May, beginning of June, came back to New York, jumped right into work, took on extra work. So that's just what I've been doing. And I've been just getting these videos out, kind of like at the end of the month. Oh, look, Leo. My Venus is in Leo. In my 11th house, which is ruled by Aquarius. That's why Libra rising is so fierce, right? Or Libra in general. But specifically that Libra rising, because your rising, your first house is going to be, you know, naturally the seventh house, which is naturally opposing the first, which every sign is going to be naturally opposing. It's going to be in its naturally opposing house, right? That placement, which is so interesting. So I pulled some Oracle of the Radiant Sun cards for you. Two fell out together, right? Basically like a conjunction. So there are those. And then I have some Romance Angels cards because I felt like I wanted to give you a little bit of a bonus message because since, I'm so late with getting them out. And then I'm going to cut that and pull one off the top for you and give you that message. As for the Rider Waite cards, I'm going to lay those out in an abbreviated ascendant spread because it's so late. I don't know how late I can go. I don't want to make the reading like an hour. But the way that I'm going to do this reading, or the two signs that are in conjunction with each other tonight, Leo and Aries, is basically what I'm going to do for each sign for the month of July. I'm going to do July and August combination. Then I'll read and just do another spread, and that'll be July. Okay, so I'll do or August. So I'll do July, and then I'll reshuffle, and then do August for each sign. So it'll probably be like between 45 minutes and an hour for each sign, maybe even a little bit longer. Anyway, let me go ahead and flip over these cards for you, Leo, that you got from the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. Wow, you can't make this shit up. I got on a cat shirt, Leo. Ew. And you got Fortune, okay, which is, take a look at that, Sun in Leo. If you look at the little glyphs there, let me give you some light. Actually, the shadow might be better. Okay, Fortune. So, Sun in Leo, that's the placement that it wants to be in. It feels good there. So, I feel like you might be feeling good about something right now, something that you're passionate about. It has something to do with something that supports your positive ego, right? And your positive awareness of what you want to be or who you want to be, what you would like to put energy into in your life. Because to be fortunate means that you you have an appreciation for that which has been given to you, right? Also fortuitous. Um, Fortune is almost kind of like a very magical, whimsical way of existing, right? Because you are fortunate to even just have your life. And this is also health as well. I'm thinking health with you because you're fortunate to have your health, is what I'm getting. Because Leo does rule the heart, and the heart is, the center of everything in your body. I mean, your brain is really making everything function, but your heart is pumping the blood to all of the different, avenues in your body, all of the different veins, right? The capillaries. So the heart gives you the fortunate feeling of life, of vitality. It reminds you of your life. You are reminded of your vitality. You are being reminded of who you are because this is the sun in Leo. The sun wants to exude positivity. energy, you know what I mean? But you just kind of have to remember that just being you, you know, even just in a moderate way is good enough. You don't have to be more for anyone or anything, you know what I mean? We're talking about a healthy placement here with the sun being in Leo. Leo is also talking about friends, right? The five is related to that Hierophant energy, right? Of, mentorship, uh, also colleagues that you respect, things like that. You might be fortunate to be working with someone that you really admire, but it might just be like one person, you know what I mean, in a group of people, because the five does talk about individuality within a group of people, right? Individualism. I feel like you might be trying to express your individualism right now. You find balance in expressing your individualism, and this is also bringing light onto how you can find emotional balance within your day-to-day life. You know, how are you going to be able to stay motivated to believe in yourself, right? Because the fives are talking about belief as well, and the sun is talking about the self, right? Leo is also talking about a very diligent, not a struggle, but a very diligent path towards something, right? Towards that feeling of letting go because you feel like you've gotten to the place where you belong, you know, because the sun is really has a feeling that it is in the place that it belongs. Okay, so I feel like you want to be in a place where you belong, definitely. I'll let you even look at the card again. Okay. Also, the next card that you got, so that's Sun and Leo. So, Sun and Leo season might be something big for you. Okay, it's coming up. We're in your 12th house right now, right? Especially if you're a Leo rising, right? We're in your 12th house of Cancer season. But this is for all Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising. And if you have Sun in 5th house, whatever sign that is, okay, specifically. So, or in specifically, but you know what it is specifically. So the next one that you got is Venus in Virgo, and Venus is exalted in Virgos, in Pisces. Sorry, excuse me. Let me correct that. Venus is exalted in Pisces, so she is in her fall in Virgo, right? So Venus is very open. She's very receptive, and she's very, she can be gullible at times, because she's so optimistic about things. Okay, and discrimination from the 6th house of Virgo, right? Having Venus in Virgo really teaches you how to be discriminate about your surroundings, about your day-to-day life, even the people that you involve yourself with. You have to also understand that you are the company that you keep, okay? Because the 6th house has to do with routine and healthy habits, and Venus is talking about relationships. So it's talking about healthy habits within relationships and building healthy habits within relationships. Because, Virgo is talking about the process of building something so that you can achieve a certain level of quality towards the end of that building process, right? Or that planning process, or the discriminatory process. You're looking at the details of a situation, right? That might involve a relationship, right? And it really is asking for you to practice a level of discrimination, right? What are you willing to notice? What are you willing to allow yourself to measure out for yourself, right? With the Sun and Leo here, to determine what it is that you would like to get out of your day-to-day life, right? It's also being active within your environment, right? Because you have to ascertain yourself in a way where you allow things to come in, and then you also have to create healthy boundaries for yourself, right? This is also your body, being very discriminate over like who you might share your body with as well, because it's Venus, okay? And she is, essentially she is that receptive female energy, feminine energy, yin. So this is really saying, just have pride in your body like you have been having. You know what I mean? Don't allow someone to, for some of you, this isn't for everybody. It's saying take more pride in your body. And it's also saying take more pride in what you do in terms of how you feed your body. It's also talking about sleep. I have Venus in Leo, so it's like 1:45, 2 o'clock a.m. here, so I'm definitely listening to this message. It's also saying like some of you are wandering around without anything to do. Some of you Leos, or you feel like lost, like you don't know what to do. It's saying that you can always figure something out. There's always something to do. There's always something to work on, right, Leo? Because I know sometimes you guys feel like I'm great. I'm everything I'm doing is good, and that is great that you're everything that you're doing is good. But then you also have to be able to see where you can be better at the things that you like doing, at the things that you enjoy, right? Because sometimes you might like doing something, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're great at it. You know what I mean? You might feel great while you're doing it, right? Or just because you're great at something doesn't mean that you like doing it, right? So think about that as well. All right, so let me just go ahead and like I'm gonna leave these over here to the side because I feel like they're gonna resonate with a lot of cards here. I'm gonna be looking at Sun in whatever cards, and I'm gonna be looking at Venus and Virgo cards and Leo. Um, yes. So let me go ahead and shuffle these right away cards. You know, you're facing some choices and decisions in terms of a relationship and some things being revealed. You know, some truths being revealed in terms of a relationship, right? Getting from one place to another with someone. Okay, this could even be you like making some choices that are going to like maybe bring back some results for you. Like I said, you know that type of thing as well, Leo. Right. There's some hidden things right now because you know we're in Cancer season, which is your 12th house. Excuse me. So that's just saying you know some blockages, right? You might be experiencing some level of blockages somewhere with whatever it is that you're going through right now, specifically for those individual Leos out there. All right, I gave you some extra cards because I'm being nice to you, Leo, because I love y'all. My chart ruler is in Leo. Venus and Leo right here. Okay, here we go. At the bottom of the deck, Leo, you already saw it. I didn't see it because you know I put the card down like this. The Magician, right? This is the awareness of something. This is the focus of something. This is also change, and this is the ability to evoke change, right? Because the magician actually has many different capabilities. So this is you looking at all of your many different capabilities, right? It is, you know, this is very related to Aries energy as well, being the first zodiac sign. And also, esoterically, Mercury rules Aries, okay? Mercury is exalted in Aquarius. So that means that Mercury is in its fall in your sign. And this is kind of like what I was talking about before. You know what I mean? It's like the awareness of what's really happening, the awareness of the process of something here. What are you actually realizing that you're going to have to, you know, understand in a palatable way so that you can digest whatever it is that you're taking in, because the magician is taking in something, right? And he has to process it. He has to digest it. It's Mercury. Mercury also rules Virgo, and that's the digestive system. You know what I mean? And it's funny that Virgo comes right after you and Mercury is in its fall in your sign. It's kind of like that, right? Because Venus is in its fall in Virgo, but then it rules Libra, which is the sign right before it. And that's also kind of like the blockages as well, right? Because when a sign is, when a planet is in its fall in a sign, that means that it just really has to work very hard because that sign is challenging it, right? It is asphyxiating it. It is kind of making it a little bit claustrophobic. It doesn't give it the perspective. It doesn't let it work from the perspective that it generally likes to. Okay, so it feels a little bit uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. Okay, and this is Mercury, the magician. It's like I feel like you guys might be uncomfortable over something that you are aware of and that is clear to you. Okay, you might be uncomfortable about like the options that you have to exercise, right? You might feel like you have too many options because Mercury is a mutable sign or mutable planet, right? And it rules two mutable signs, right? Virgo and Gemini. Okay, so you might be dealing with some Virgos or some Geminis, okay, Leo, for sure. And then, this is just really kind of like understanding like who you are too, because this is the identity as well, right? This is a new you as well, because the magician is right after the 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 surprise element of Uranus from the fool, that is kind of like expecting to be something or expecting to get something, and now I, the magician, is something. I know who I am, right? So this is also a card of singularity as well, individualism, right? You know what your process is, you know what you're doing, you know what this is meant for you, divinely inspired, right? Deep down, you know what it is, and that's why you're doing the work. And the magician is here underneath the deck. And that's why Venus here in Virgo, which Mercury rules, is talking about discrimination, because that is talking about the work, right? You, the magician, understanding that you may have been discriminated against, right? Well, this is the discrimination card, but I'm moving on kind of fast because I have a lot of Sag placements. Okay, you were probably discriminated against because of your identity, right, and the awareness of who you knew you were, okay, in regards to something. um, and you are fortunate that you are who you are because you were able to express yourself in a passionate way. And here we go. I just talked about all my Sagittarius placements and going fast. So things moved fast with something because this card just showed itself to me. The Wheel of Fortune, surprise elements, right? Feeling a little bit overwhelmed by something, right? It's also the growth of something, understanding, what it means to grow as well, right? This is also maybe things getting out of control with the situation. And maybe this is what this discrimination card has to do with, unfortunately. I don't know who was getting discriminated against or who felt like they were being discriminated against. But that's very unfortunate. I'm sorry to be getting that information. Um, it could be have been discriminated against by a boss because the five is here, which is the sun in Leo, which is fortune. That could be the boss. Anyway, I'm moving on from that message. But the Wheel of Fortune is definitely the ability to adapt to rapid changes, right? Because the Wheel of Fortune comes in and it surprises you, right, with a lot of different changes that might be occurring all at one time, and you kind of can't get your head around it, right? You need to like be a little bit more grounded and stable when you're dealing with this energy, right? Because it's pretty quick and it's pretty fast. Also, be aware of accidents that might happen. You don't want to make any sudden shifts or changes in directions that you weren't feeling like making, or this could be sudden shifts and changes in directions as well. You may not be able to control that, right? Because the Wheel of Fortune Sagittarius energy isn't really being held back or being controlled. So you might experience some like some chaotic shifts, right? Or you may have already experienced these chaotic shifts, and you're just gonna have to kind of like hold your horses. All right, let me move on to your actual real reading, honey. Let me flip you over. What we at? Already 20 minutes. King of Wands. Okay, so this is you actually. This is fixed fire, right? Or you could be thinking, you could be dealing with someone who is, like the King of Wands right now. But this is definitely giving me you, okay? And it's funny because I talked about identity, right, with the magician here and understanding who you are, right? Understanding what the possibilities are because you are who you are. I feel like you're getting back to a very strong sense of self here. And you did have all of these changes that were happening. The tens also talk about opportunities and risks, right? The opportunity for growth. I feel like that's what's also happening as well. The opportunity for growth. Um, okay, the King of One is air and fire. So these are really great elements that are going to generate some energy, right? So that we can transfer this energy. So I'm getting that you need to transfer some energy and you need to transmute some energy, right? Because the Wheel of Fortune does have those signs those fixed signs that have to do with transmutation, which is really in kind of like the World card. But then you also have a fixed card here, which is the King of Wands, which is also in the Wheel of Fortune card. So this is talking about you having to deal with some abruptness in your life, but then it's also talking about you being able to exercise certain parts of yourself, right? Fixed energy, fixed fire, right? It's kind of like something that's very persistent, right? So through your persistence, you were able to deal with all of these abrupt, sudden changes or these challenges or these things that, just were changing the way that things were being done, okay? Or things were being said around you. Because this is communication and things happening fast, right? Because you have Mercury here and you have Jupiter, okay? And Mercury is in Cancer right now. Jupiter is in Sagittarius. That Sagittarius full moon that we just had was conjunct the galactic center, which is 26 to 27 degrees of Sagittarius. I know that I have a planet there and it's my third house, which is why anyway. Yeah, so there might have been something going on around the full moon. Maybe you became fully aware of something or more aware of something. Maybe there was the completion of something that you felt like was getting a little bit out of control. Maybe something became a little bit more solid or a little bit more settled, or maybe there was a situation that you felt like was out of control, may have gotten a little bit better. But we'll see. The King of Wands is air, it's perspective, it's understanding certain principles that need to be adhered to, right? Data. I don't know why am I saying that. Certain things have to be adhered to and understood, right? So that you can get the best out of what it is that you're attaching yourself to. You know what I mean? But you also have to be yourself as well. But the perspective part with the King of Wands is showing him that he can uh, see that other ways are good as well. I don't know why I'm saying that. I feel like creativity is important here as well. You're healing from something, so being creative is going to help you with that healing process. You know, you have salamanders here in this card, so this is talking about really getting through some kind of like uh, fiery or some kind of fury or some kind of like just heated time for you, right? It is kind of phoenix energy, and then that goes back to this wheel of fortune, right? That energy of transmuting through that Aquarius, that Taurus, that Leo, and that Phoenix, which is Scorpio, that bird energy, right? The Phoenix is the bird that gets through the fire. The salamander and the King of Wands is related to the Phoenix because it's the only thing that can make it through fire, right? So that's standing the test of time as well. And it is also kind of like, getting through all of the different things that probably were testing you, right? You had to jump through some hurdles, jump through some hoops. Okay, the high priestess is the challenge. The challenge is actually understanding and knowing something, but you might be in denial about it, right? Because the high priestess is related to Pisces energy, and Pisces energy is Neptune, and that's being in denial about things sometimes too, Leo. You know what I mean? Also, it's about understanding some truths that come from you, realizing some things that don't come from people telling you telling you, that don't come from you asking questions. They're just revealed to you through your own connection that you have to your spiritual guidance. Okay, so your spiritual guidance is telling you something because the high priestess is a two, right? And that's kind of like that Gemini symbol, right? In the high priestess card, the Gemini symbol is there. So there's something that's being understood, right, and communicated to you, that's being revealed to you through your intuition, because it's water and it's related to Pisces. So you might be uncomfortable about this information, or you might be uncomfortable about how you feel about what this information might be revealing to you inside your spirit. Okay, and that might even be the challenge here, because you felt like there's so many things happening, and there's so many things that have been happening, right? Because the wheel of fortune is mutable, right? It's Sagittarius. I just talked about that full moon being in Sagittarius. The high priestess is very much related to the moon, and as Pisces. Okay, and Pisces right now has Neptune there. Neptune is definitely dissolving boundaries, and Neptune can be very confusing sometimes. It can be so much confusing that it is confusing you to the point that you are in denial about your feelings, right? Or you could be in denial about what something might be intuitively telling you inside, spiritually, right? That type of thing too. And you might be challenged by a sacrifice, because you do have to have you will be making a sacrifice once this is being revealed. I feel like you're asking a question, and by asking this question you're going to be making the sacrifice, because you're going to get the answer. You know what I mean? Because the magician is talking about answers. Okay, because it's talking about awareness, inspiration. Okay, when I find the answer, I'm aware of something, right? When I see, because the magician is allowing you to see, right? It's like the fool is the openness. It's like the opportunity and the space for things to happen, and the magician is the first thing that is possible within that space. Possibilities, right? Thinking about all the different things, right? What are the different factors, right? That's what I'm talking about by being discriminative. It's being discriminatory. Okay? Really looking at the basics here and understanding what is actually needed. Okay? And I know that Jupiter gives too much. Jupiter sometimes gives too much too fast, that it gets overwhelming sometimes, right? That you don't have time to kind of like realize what's happening. It just happens. I know. I have Jupiter in Sagittarius conjunct Uranus. Okay? And this high priestess, Pisces, Venus is exalted there, like I said, and you got Venus in Virgo here, which is opposite Pisces, so there's opposing energy as well. You know what I mean? How I'm feeling and what I'm really seeing and what I'm really doing, what I'm really getting out of something and how I feel about something. Because Pisces will feel some kind of way, so that it will give of itself in a way that it is sacrificing, right? It's being so open and so receptive that it's sensitizing itself, right? And and it's up to its emotional letdowns. Okay, letdown is what you're being challenged by, and you're having to stay strong from that emotional letdown, but you're learning a lot of things from that. Okay, you're allowing yourself to be open enough to learn things from it, because it's the only way that you're going to gain strength and wisdom to get through it. Okay, because you are fortunate because of that. You do have the sun in Leo here, and that is strength in the awareness, right? Because when you can see, when things are illuminated for you, then you understand where you are. Then you can make decisions. Then you can make choices, because you have an acute understanding for what the landscape is, what you are really looking at. You can be decisive and you can be discriminatory then, right? Now you're not reaching for answers for things. You can see clearly. You don't have to reach and grab. You can just see. Okay? Oh my gosh. All right, let me continue. Your sun position. What did I just say? You don't have to reach for answers, you can just see them in front of you, right? In your sun position. Now the sun is coming up in here, excuse me, and it's shining light onto some misunderstandings, some, lies, betrayals, trickery. The sevens are related to the chariots, so it's talking about moving forward, but this is moving forward once you clear the air, right? It's clearing the air by way of bringing some awareness to some things that need to be discussed between, right? Because it's a seven, and that's related to the seventh house, which is Libra. So it's talking about things needing to be discussed in between two parties, perhaps, or maybe something is not being discussed within a discussion of two parties. Maybe there's only a little bit of things being discussed. Someone is holding back because the seven is related to that chariot energy, and the chariot is holding back. Sometimes that energy could be talking about holding back because it's a seven, right? Because of Cancer, that crab holding back. Oh, I'm holding back. But there's so much going on. There's so much going on, but then there's also so much being held back, right? And you can feel that there's an imbalance there because the seven is talking about there being an imbalance, okay? Because it's related to the seventh house, which is Libra, okay? Sharing information too, talking it out. Somebody might be getting away with something, you know? Also, this is kind of like, how committed are you going to be to making a choice, right? Are you going to be consistent with what you decide here, right? Because it's the moon, and the moon is talking about being affected. It's talking about reflection. It's talking about being affected because it is so receptive, right? And this is kind of like belief in some mistruths, right? Because you're receptive to the mistruths, right? Because someone felt like they could possibly like own this part of you, but it's mentally. They could get you to believe or get you to see something, right? And then this yellow here is talking about, this is kind of like solar plexus energy too. It also is talking about creativity. So somebody might have been creative in the ways that they were able to. Sorry, they might have been creative in the ways that they were able to get you to believe something, right? And that's probably why you were able to like go with it. Because this is kind of like going with the information, because Cancer goes with it. Oh, I'll go, yes. And that's what I'm talking about with that sacrificial type of energy, right? Because the sevens are related to that seventh house of Libra, and that's definitely open to sacrifice. Look, put that, seven, right? And it's Venus, right? We're talking about that. Okay, maybe you were too nice in the way that you were communicating, or maybe you were too nice in, you know, the way that you were letting things that were being said slide, or maybe you were too nice about, you know, some things that just weren't right. You're trying to figure something out. Okay, let me move on to the moon placement, right? Aquarius is talking about, I'm sorry, I'm going to continue with this card. Aquarius is talking about perspective, right? So the moon is emotions, and Aquarius is perspective, and it's swords. What's the emotional perspective about the information? How do your feelings show you what the general in landscape in the environment, right? What's the structure? What's the psychological geography of where we're going? What is this mental terrain? What mental terrain are we on? Right? The sevens. Oh, we're moving forward. Right? What is this? Terrain are we on? Right? Territory. What is this? The Empress, Venus. in your moon position. Okay. And the threes are talking about communication and Gemini energy, right? As well, that third house. Okay. And then the Empress is talking about, creativity and pregnancy. The Empress things, right? So this is like, trying to protect a relationship, perhaps, because Venus rules relationships. She's also pregnant, so there's an idea of protection there. The moon is exalted in Taurus, you know what I mean? And Taurus is in the Empress card, right? For sure. Um, yeah, sorry, I was just thinking about how long this video is going to be. So, yeah, you're doing that. It's like you need to see you've gotten around to a place of understanding that you are all you need, really, again, right? Because you already knew that, right? We got the sun in Leo already, so you knew that at one point. But then there was some kind of like thing that happened in your daily life, right? Something that kind of like demotivated you or unmotivated you, right? Discouragement, right? Because you were being discriminated against, or maybe you had to just be discriminate in a situation that involved consistency in your life, a daily regimen, right? And it involved a relationship, or it was something. It could have been a relationship with work, because Virgo is concerned with work, right? Healthy habits around work. And Venus is kind of like, I want the ideal work experience. And it's saying, if you want the ideal work experience, Leo, then you're gonna have to be discriminatory. Hi, baby. You're gonna have to be discriminate to get that, right? To get to where you want, you're gonna have to discriminate a little bit, right? Otherwise, you'll just be going through, bricks, right, to find a diamond, right, forever. Okay. But yeah, the Empress is definitely, she should appreciate where she is at any given moment, at any given time, because she is abundance, she is possibility, right? She is capability, she is the void that is being filled so that things can exist there. Things exist in the void because the void is there, right? It is available. So this is kind of like you being emotionally available, because the Empress is in the moon placement here. The moon is emotional and the Empress is available, okay? And also because she's emotionally available, she stays connected, right? It's trying to stay emotionally connected to something, okay? Because in the Empress card, you can see the water right there. Look, you got one, two, and three major arcana. Isn't that something? You got the magician, you got the high priestess, and you got the empress. Okay, so you see this stream of water here? That's going back here to where the high priestess is, right? And behind this cloak is how you're gonna get to this other end here too. Anyway, and there's a little connection there with Pisces being in and of itself, right? So the challenge is Pisces energy here, or it could be any water sign, but this high priestess is Pisces, right? That's the immediate influence and the challenge. And it's talking about Venus too, okay? And the threes are really like things taking shape and understanding of what's happening, right? It's giving birth to an understanding of something. And it is related, the Empress is related to this magician here. Venus is related to Mercury here, okay? Because Venus actually nurtures Mercury, as Mercury would be the child of Venus, okay? I'm not gonna go there, but you know what I mean. Okay, Eros, Aphrodite, right. So, anyway, yes, let me continue. In the past, there was some confusion about your feelings, confusions about like how emotions were being shared, how things were being how your emotions might have been being verbalized within a relationship. Maybe there were some hidden things within the within sharing, right? Maybe some things that needed to be shared were being hidden within a relationship in the past. Because this is a seven, so it's related to that Libra, but it's also related to, you know, Cancer and the Chariot. So it's talking about gaining wisdom out of an experience that you may have felt threatened by, emotionally threatened by, or you may have felt threatened by the need or the responsibility to make a lot of different decisions and a lot of different choices, or maybe you felt intimidated by those choices, right? This is also toxic energy, right? Relying upon others to make decisions for you. And, when you do that, people are definitely going to make decisions that are wrong for you. And then that in turn becomes toxic. Something becomes toxic when you allow others to make decisions for you that you should make for yourself, right? And there's definitely some shadow work going on here with this card, or there's some shadow work going on from some past experience. You know, this is also saying that, you know, it's not going to get better if you don't do anything about it. Or in the past, you were that's what was happening. The situation wasn't getting better, and it was really alarming and calling out for you to do something about it. Okay. And presently, you're looking back towards that and you're like, I'm stronger. I have a different perspective. So, my different perspective is a fresh perspective, right? On the old way, okay? That how I allowed myself to get into a lot of different, uh, funny, fuzzy situations, right? I opened myself up too much to some things that I probably should have been discriminate of, okay? And then I kind of like got taken for a ride, the chariot, like I said. You know what I mean? All right, Leo, honey. Okay, so now let's look at your bonus cards that are here to clarify. Jupiter and Capricorn, the chariot, number 7, major arcana, look at you. The Hierophant, you better work, darling. You better work, darling Leo, with all these major arcana cards up in here today. Okay? All right, love. So you got the chariot. It is talking about gaining the wisdom and the truth in oneself to move forward passionately towards your goal. Okay? And that, man, you better stop it. It's coming right after the Seven of Cups, which is amazing, right? A 7 here, right? 7 of Cups, emotional toxicities, right? Needing to filter some things out, needing to filter a lot of things out of your life, right? That you allowed to be there, right? Because it's a 7 related to Cancer and Libra, both receptive, right? Opening themselves up. Look at what happened. I learned from that. Now I'm moving forward, right? I made some decisions, I made some choices for myself, right? I gained some wisdom out of this, this very hard time, right? Now I'm very proud of who I am and I'm moving forward passionately, knowing that I'm going to get in the direction where I want to go. Okay? I'm committed to that. Committed to making a choice to move forward. Okay? Definitely an evolution. Definitely an evolution, for sure. Absolutely. And the North Node is in Cancer right now. Mercury is in Cancer right now, and Mars is in Cancer right now. It is opposing Capricorn energy. Okay? It definitely is opposing that energy for you, Leo. And now let's look at the other card that we have here. Another 2 related to the High Priestess energy, things being revealed to you, right? Having to do a lot with a little, right? Being stretched, being being stretched financially. Okay, maybe some of you made a big purchase, right? That maybe was expensive and it was a risk that you took, but you decided to take that risk, right? So now you're having to juggle some things, right? Having to deal with some restrictions perhaps because it is Capricorn, right? but now you're restricted because of the major choice that you made, right? That got you into this place of being restricted now, whatever that means for some of you. You could be feeling restricted on time, or you could be feeling short on time. There might be a lot going on and you feel like you don't have enough time to get it all done. I'm also getting that you might need to borrow money from someone. You might be asking someone to borrow money. Some of you, not all of you. Somebody might be asking you to borrow some money. Or you might just be, using the credit card. I feel like some of you guys are going to be using the credit card a little bit more because you made a bigger purchase, right? That was sort of like the Jupiter part, right? Taking the risk and making the big choice, the big purchase, that choice, that decision. So now you're like, oh, I'm using the credit card for a little bit for the rest of June. You know what I mean? Like something like that. Because it is talking about money and it's talking about finance. It's talking about making choices in terms of money and finance, right? To get somewhere, to reveal something, to satisfy something. Because Capricorn is consumption, right? It's consuming something. And Jupiter is definitely a very big planet, and it's the gas giant. It loves to consume. It has a big appetite. Okay, so if you put Jupiter and Capricorn together, that's a big appetite. So it's kind of like, whoa, you definitely are doing a lot with a little. Okay, and you might want more. Okay, so this could, maybe you might be feeling a little bit like ravenous. You might be feeling a little bit like things are sparse, like things are kind of like cut short. Your time's cut short, your money's cut short, you know, that type of thing. Or you could be trying to make some connections, you know what I mean, to find a job or going to interviews and things like that. And it might just be kind of like you're not getting as much as you want, right? Or you're not getting as much as you feel like you kind of like submitted yourself to getting, right? You're like, things should be better. They could be better, right? In some kind of way, like that. Okay, I'm sorry that I keep doing that. My chest is acting weird. It's the smoking, honey. Not cigarettes, though. So let's look at your another major arcana card. Moving forward, the outcome. This is also very transformative because it's the judgment card. It's Pluto. Pluto's in Capricorn. Just like I was talking about, right? You got this Jupiter in Capricorn right here. Pluto's retrograde with Saturn right now in Capricorn. The judgment card is talking about freeing yourself of something that was holding you back before because you had a fear of what was going to happen or what was going to occur anyway, right? It's kind of like the judgment card is like you need to let go of whatever it is that you don't have any control of anyway, right? Because by bringing more concern to that thing that you can't do anything about, right? You don't even know when, who, what, where, when, or why. You're just kind of like feeding into the passive aggressive energy, feeding into the toxicity, right? It's kind of like you're sitting in this box and you need to get out and let your joints crack and let your muscles stretch out. You know what I mean? It's kind of like let yourself be free from something that you feel like is really has got you in like a grip. You know what I mean? It's kind of like it's like a grip. It's like a stinging grip, you know, a burning grip, you know, like an Indian burn, like that type of thing. You feel burned by something. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you gotta like free yourself, you know. Put some ointment on your feelings, honey. Soothe those feelings, right? Judgment, Pluto. Pluto is also kind of like it's the higher octane of Mars. So this is saying that if you choose to do something that you're probably going to transform from, or you're probably feeling a call to act upon something that you know is going to be transformative for you, and you might be being stubborn and holding back, right? You might be being reluctant because the judgment card is giving me reluctancy, right? Because Pluto is kind of reluctant, right? It's very far. Pluto gives you that. I don't know. I don't know. That's what Pluto gives you. You know what I mean? You have to trust in the escape. Right? That's going to be the name of this one. Trust in the escape. Leo. Right? Pluto is definitely talking about making major decisions. These are decisions that are bigger, right? You know what I mean? It's like decisions that are, it is passive aggression. Because when you decide to let go of something that you've been holding on to, that you feel like you wanted to do something about, then you are practicing a passive way of assertion, of aggressing, right? You are aggressive. It's like letting go of something is definitely, to me, it's passive aggressively, acting. That's Pluto, right? Because you can be passive aggressive, but then you can also be passive and let go. Okay, I feel like it's both of those things. And there's wisdom here when you choose to let go, then you're like, damn, man, like, I didn't get anything. It's like you don't receive anything from that, but you do, right? From letting go. Because it's like, what were you holding on to the whole time? Nothing. The feeling, the fear, the discomfort, right? The dysphoric, right? This dysphoria. This is kind of like a reparation, atonement, right? A healing of the wounds, right? That's what I'm getting for the future, a healing of the wounds. Definitely. Look at that. And now we're going to look at the top card, which is the what you're moving towards as well. You got this Pluto card, Judgment, here, talking about transformation. Ooh. King of Cups at the top. This is Scorpio energy. Fixed like you. Okay, you got two kings. You got the King of Wands and the King of Cups, right? So those are the people. Those are two people. Though that's you, right? The fire, right? You had to really burn through something. You had to really get through something. You had to really like accelerate. You had to really energize. You had to really, spark. You had to really, combust, put energy into something, right? So now that transformation has happened, right? Moving forward into the future, the outcome, and now the King of Cups, right? His perspective has changed from the transformation that he allows, right? That the transformation that he experiences when he allows himself to let go of things that don't serve his higher purpose, right? That don't serve him moving forward to get to the greater self, right? The deeper self, right? The more soulful self, the self that understands that, wow, I thought that I had gone through everything that I could possibly go through up to this point in my life. I don't know why that's for some of you who are a little older out there, not the 20-year-olds. But the King of Cups, his emotional perspective is one that is, envied probably, right? Because people wish that they could feel the way that the King of Cups does and understands his feelings, right? He can be emotionally triggered, but he's not so much because he's not in reverse. But you also are learning from the emotional triggers, right? What are those? That's Pluto as well. This is emotional triggers that don't evoke a reaction. It's internal reaction. The High Priestess, that Pisces energy, you're getting an external, right, reaction. Wow. Okay? That Cancer energy reacts, but he reacts in the way that it lets you know what the feeling was. Okay? It's not being controlled by the emotion in that way, right? It doesn't feel the need to control the emotion, right? It just lets the emotions occur. They just happen. In and out. In and out. You know what I mean? That's what Cancer's talking about. Okay? And the King of Cups is here saying that, you know, you are dealing with it. You are dealing with your emotions. You are passionate still, right, about who you are, right? Those firm beliefs of who you are still stand, you know, and there's wisdom from that. But then you're also open to seeing what may come, right? Because you know that things are always flowing and changing. You know, whatever the tide brings in, you're going to be ready for it. You're going to be ready to deal with it, right? Because you know it's just going to be smooth sailing. It's just going to sail right on by. You know, this is kind of like the two ships passing kind of the deal. You know, it's not rough waters, that type of thing. And if it is rough waters, you know how to deal with those, right? Because you've already been dealing with them. Okay, so let me go ahead and give you a romance, angels. This says forgiving and learning. As you release and heal the past, you experience more love in your present moments. Excuse me, you guys. What did I say I was going to call the reading? Does anyone remember that before we go? Let me cut this deck. Extend your lighthearted energy to others. Okay, that's going to be it. So, flirt, extend your lighthearted energy to others. This is saying kind of like, you know, come out of this slump, you know, forgiving and learning, definitely. That's what the judgment card is definitely giving you. It's adding to that, you know, forgiving and learning from the past, allowing that to kind of like give you the wisdom to kind of stand firm, be strong in your future. It's kind of like you're fortified, you know what I mean? You have been strengthened. You do feel stronger. Um, you have a lot of major arcana cards here supporting major change in your life. Okay, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 major arcana cards. That's a lot for an abbreviated reading. What? Extend your lighthearted energy to others. Have fun. Go out there. You know, don't take life so seriously. You know, because you are forgiving and learning. You don't have to hold on to that heavy energy. Although you are dealing with like uncovering some things still, and you're asking some questions about some things that you probably still don't have a clear understanding of, right? So I'm not going to sugarcoat that part, right? And you are still dealing with some stuff that you're going to have to make some real decisions, some real choices about in terms of like distance, maybe travel, or staying in one place, or doing the work so that you can travel somewhere, or you might even want to like change jobs, right? Or you might want to have two jobs. You're going to be trying to see if you can get two jobs or do two jobs, right? Because Jupiter in Capricorn, that's kind of like wanting two jobs, or wanting, yeah, two. Because 3 of Pentacles, Mars in Capricorn, is like multiple jobs, right? 2 of Pentacles is like having two jobs. Or looking for one. Anyway, I love you guys. Leo, and look at this. Look, now I'm going to have to shuffle these cards again and do one for Aries. So that would have been like the equivalent, like half of that time of the first part of the readings that I would do for July, right? So you would get a reading like that, and then I would shuffle like this again and do the second part. But for this particular video, the second part is going to be for Aries. So if you guys know any Aries out there, if you're cross-watching for the Leo, hey, or if you're an Aries yourself, you guys, I have to read tomorrow, okay? Maybe I'll just kind of like get up and go. I'm going to have to like set the coffee maker tonight so that when I get up in the morning, I'll just do it, okay? I guess these will be Aries cards. But I haven't officially started the Aries reading yet. Also, Leos, I'm letting you guys know this, and anyone who's watching this video, Cancer season. Yay, I have a Cancer moon and my midheaven is Cancer. And Cancer is a receptive sign. It likes to give advice. What I'm going to do for the month of, for Cancer season and the whole month of July, you can start this now, is I'm going to be doing 20-minute readings for $20, okay? And you can get that reading by emailing me at providencetarotkendrick@gmail.com. You are Cancer Moon, yes. You better be an empath. You better be intuitive. My Cancer Moon is at 29 degrees, y'all. So we have a lot going on right now, don't we, Cancer energies? Yes. So yeah, that's going to be 20-minute readings for $20 for Cancer season in the month of July. Email providencetarotkendrick@gmail.com, or you can hit me up in my DMs, Providence Tarot, on Instagram. Okay, I do PayPal, and I also do, what is that thing called? Venmo. All right, so this next reading is going to be for Aries. A fellow fire sign. Now I'm Libra sun and rising, so this opposes me. Okay, Aries, here we go. Your reading is starting at 1 hour, 1 minute, and 45 seconds. Or should we just say an hour and 2 minutes? Probably an hour and 2 minutes, right? That's what it seems like it's going to be. Okay, and I'm going to do the Oracle of the Radiant Sun as well for you. So your cards are pretty much laid out. So Aries, I would say this. You are dealing with some mistruths. You're dealing with some lies, some betrayal, some trickery, maybe just some misunderstandings. Or maybe someone didn't divulge all the information, Aries, or maybe someone left some information out. Well, you're dealing with communications and methods of communication, and maybe someone missing. Ooh, sorry. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Okay, it might do that again, but it's probably, there you go. It's not going to do it again after that. So you're dealing with, maybe some false allegations, right? Or you might be dealing with somebody trying to get in over your head or trick you, or leave some information out. Or maybe there was like, this is talking about processes, right? And not everything being clear within a process. I feel like there are going to be some things that have to be worked out. There might be have someone might have to exercise a level of authority in terms of making a decision to get something done, because maybe there are a lot of questions that are being asked and there aren't a lot of answers that are being given to those questions, right? um, I feel like you might even be dealing with like some early youthful energy or the early stages of something, right? Um, yeah. I feel like someone's trying to get away with something with you, or you feel like someone might be trying to get away with something with you. Um, this is kind of like how you're relating to the experience as well. If you're trying to handle all of the communications and all of the things on your own, then you can't really blame anyone when things go wrong, right? Or you can't blame anyone for, you not understanding something, or you leaving something out, or you having the details mixed up, right? This is kind of like saying that you need to move forward with something, with getting the answers, right? You need to move forward with getting the answers or getting the information so that you know where you're going, or you know where this is getting you, right? You know where this process is going, okay? Because right now you don't really know where the process is going, because there's not enough information, or the wrong information has been given to you, or somebody might be backing out of an agreement. because it's the Seven of Swords, and the sevens are related to Libra, and Libra rules checks and balances, and also kind of like the markets. So this is kind of like an agreement, right? Contracts and bonds and things like that. Transactions, right? When you make a transaction, it's agreement. It's basically a contract that you sign, like I agree to pay this much, right? But this isn't a pentacle, so this is something that was said that hasn't been like laid out, or it is a, this is a plan that has been laid out but hasn't gotten anywhere. It hasn't gotten into action. There's just still some details that need to be worked out here. This is Moon in Aquarius. The Moon is very emotional, and kind of like Aquarius is not emotional. So this is probably somebody like, you know, being very cold with the way that they're communicating right now, possibly, Aries. Or, this could just be somebody being a little bit distant and not wanting to. Somebody could be like, uh, it's like they're not communicating with you. It's like the silent treatment. You know what I mean? Somebody might be giving you the silent treatment um, because they feel some kind of way or feel emotional about something. And they feel like they were lied to by you about something. So that's probably why they're giving you the silent treatment, for some of you guys. All right, so let me go ahead and flip over your cards here. Yes, Aries, you better have me up late. I'm going to bed as soon as this is done. Okay, let me take some melatonin. Hold on, before I flip your cards over. E. I got this melatonin from the store the other day. Hopefully, it works for me. I'm used to Ambien. Okay. All right. Yeah. So this is talking about something that was said, or somebody doesn't believe the truth about something, or someone doesn't believe that you're telling the truth about something, Aries, and they're gonna demand something. They want an apology, or they want you to say something to them to make them feel better about something, right? Because they feel like you probably could have done something, right? Like they feel like you had like some kind of authority here within this situation, um, that I don't really know if you have. How many men? Sorry, I need to see how many of these I'm supposed to take. I'll take two. I feel like that's safe. Yeah, but this is mutable. So this is kind of like information changing. This is like someone changing up a story or changing up what they said, right? You could be intimidated by somebody's behavior, like somebody acting a little bit like crazy. Somebody might be shouting. I don't feel like this is a shouting match. I feel like one person will be shouting, or one person is going to get upset and they're going to want to express they're going to want to express that sensation that they're getting, that feeling that they're getting through action, because the knights are fire and their element that they represent in their suit, and this is a fiery air knight. So this is bringing energy and force to something. You know what I mean? And this is kind of like optimism within that like drive forward. Okay. It is very passionate. It is very red. Somebody might be furious, or you might be furious with this person that might be feeling like upset about something, right? Or you might be feeling furious with something that someone said, right? Oh, this is so weird because I feel like this has to do with people, with two people perhaps, because it's a seven, so it's related to duality, and that's Cancer, right? So these are people that probably were close to each other, and someone said something, or there was a communication in some way, there was an exchange, and then it made other people feel some kind of way. There were some emotional triggers, right? And it was emotional triggers because there was some kind of manipulation, but it was like psychological manipulation through words. Because if you say something that isn't true, but even if you say it, other people will think it's true, even if it's just for a second. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm getting out of that. Um, yeah, so that might be what somebody's upset about. And you, Aries, you like to be upset about stuff when it's time to be upset about something. You're challenged by the Hermit. The Hermit is saying that you're going inward and you might be falling back from this situation, right? If other people are trying to cause problems, you're probably going to create a boundary, a spiritual boundary, because you're trying to protect your energy spiritually. And the Hermit definitely does that. You know what I mean? It's a nine, so it's related to like that feeling of completion and that feeling of like kind of just being like done with something or going inward to kind of like see that so it's a situation may not be someone's fault. You may not be the reason, or you might not be the solution. You might not be having to come up with a solution for anyone else. You're coming up with solutions for yourself just by going inward, spending time by yourself. You might be spending time by yourself in terms of getting through a process. You know what I mean? I feel like you're challenged by work, right? You have work to do, and you don't have time to be concerned about these childish or these silly behaviors of people that want to be emotionally affected by something that they did anyway, that it was their fault anyway. But yeah, the hermit is saying that you have an awareness of how you're going to satisfy, a need to process something inside of you. Okay. Uh, the hermit is saying that, it is spiritual because there is a side of him that we don't see. You know what I mean? And the side of a person that you don't see is the spiritual side of them. It is that part of themselves that, connects to God and isn't connected to these earthly 3D things that we see here, right? And that's why we only see one side of him. Okay, but there is some wisdom to him because he knows something that we don't know, right? Okay, the hermit definitely knows something that we don't know, and we should appreciate him for that. So that's what you're being challenged by. I feel like you're being challenged by the fact that you may not be appreciated for the service or the things that you are providing, the things that you are doing, like the goals that you are meeting and how you are helping people get from one place to another. This is kind of like you being able to adapt and change to people. It's almost like you cater to other people so much more, and sometimes that's a challenge for you. You know what I mean? Trying to cater to other people, Aries, and that's not, it's a challenge just because it's a responsibility, right? I feel like the hermit definitely is challenged by a responsibility to understand himself better, right? And we don't want to blame things on other people. We don't want we are the rulers of our spiritual kingdom, right? It's kind of like God is like the emperor, right? Actually, God would be like the land, Virgo energy, right? God would be the land of that kingdom, and the emperor is the ruler of that kingdom, and the kingdom is your spirit and your soul, and you are the emperor, right? And the spirit and the soul is God. So it's kind of like God giving you the land, the surface, the platform, the place to actually stand and be and experience what it is to connect to that energy of the divine so that you can find answers within yourself for the things that might be troubling you, for the things that might be making you ask questions about why. You know what I mean? That type of thing. You might be getting a little bit too involved with certain things that actually don't concern the greater good or the higher purpose of you. You know what I mean? Sometimes we do that, because other people make it our responsibility to do that for them. You know what I mean? So if somebody's making it your responsibility to do something for them that they should be doing for themselves, and it has to do with some psychological, mental, emotional stuff, that you can see that it really doesn't have to do with the real stuff that's going on for you guys that you're trying to like get through. So in terms of work, or meaningful things, everyday life, it's kind of like this isn't something that you should probably be handling for them as much as you are, right? Because the hermit is someone that does a lot of help and service for people, and then it needs to go in and take its own time to kind of like work on itself. So this is saying you're challenged by, you need to work on yourself right now too. Okay, Aries, you definitely need to be working on yourself for something, right? You might be feeling like you might be intimidated by the responsibilities that you have, and you really want to settle. It's like you have to move fast and do stuff, right? But you really just kind of want to like settle down and be like, okay, let me take a little bit of a break right here. You know what I mean? Like that type of thing. Let me kind of sit down and get my bearings. Ooh, let me take a load off, right? Realize what's going on here, what's been going on inside of me. I've been keeping myself busy with all of these things to do. But it's like now I need to like actually understand like where I am and how I feel, and am I satisfied, and what do I want to change? Is this working for me? You know, Am I getting anything out of this? Is there a reason why this is here? Is there a reason why this hasn't changed yet? You know, like that type of thing, right? Okay. In your sun position, you have a choice, right? I was talking about decisions and choices to be made within relationships and within the evolution of relationships, right? And then it's like, the sun position having the two of swords here is really saying that the choice is yours to make, right? With this whole, like the seven of swords being here underneath at the bottom of the deck, this is still related to Libra, right? But it's squaring Libra as a kin. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not squaring Libra. Um, it's Aquarius, so it's talking about your perspective, and it's talking about a change in perspective, right? Because the sevens do have to do with, changes occurring, movement forward, you know what I mean? So this is, your perspective has changed in a way because time has gone by, right? You've evolved, right? So your perspective has changed about someone within a relationship. So you're identifying with making a choice, right? That only you are going to have to make because, it really is your life. Like I said, you have to be critical of the things that you have around you so that you don't have those things rub off on you. Okay? Because that's what Virgo talks about. It talks about applying certain, or, appreciating certain elements in your life that are going to foster motivation, discipline, right? And continuously doing that so that you strengthen your level of productivity, right? That's what Virgo is talking about. But this two here is really talking about something being in and of itself, right? You have the opportunity to do something and you should do it. You should definitely identify with, just your existence, right? When you have a choice, that's wonderful. Some people don't have choices, right? Or some people are made to think that they don't have a choice, and this isn't anyone taking your choices away from you. This is you sitting on a choice, sitting on a decision, not making the decision, right? And the moon's saying that everything is going to continue to evolve and change around you, right? The tide's going to shift. It's going to go up and it's going to go down. It's going to come in and it's going to go out. Right now, the tide is out, but in a matter of time, it's going to come in. Are you going to sit there and get wet, or are you going to make the decision, put a sword down, and get up and walk away and take the sword with you that you wanted to take anyway, that you knew you were going to want to take? It's like, why are you not making the decision when you know you're going to make the decision anyway at some point? You're just kind of like letting it drag on. You know what I mean? Don't be letting it drag on. Okay? And then this is also talking about, it's Gemini energy, Pisces energy, right? Sensitivity to making the choice. You might be feeling emotionally sensitive, or you might be feeling like sensitized to making the choice, right? Because you don't want to be definitive, right? You kind of want to like be on the fence. You kind of like don't want to give an answer to something right now. You might be holding back from giving someone an answer, right? And they're asking you questions, but you're challenged by, the fact that you might want to change something, right? That's why you're not answering the question yet. That's why you're not coming up with an answer for yourself, or you don't have an answer for yourself yet, because you're just trying to see what the hell is going on anyway. Aries. Okay, let's look at your moon placement. Page of Swords, changes. This is related to Saturn. This is earth and air. Okay, so when you get earth and air, this is talking about very light up there perspective, and then it's talking about grounded. So some of you might need to be grounding yourself, right? You need to, you might have a very youthful perspective or a youthful outlook in terms of like some kind of process, right? I feel like you're determined to stay the course with something or someone. You know how to belong. You know how to be social and get along with someone or something or some people. I feel like, this page is kind of saying like, you're enthusiastic about understanding or knowing more. These are questions too, right? You have evolved to having more questions, right? This is probably going to be, this might be an answer to your question, right? I don't know. Or somebody might be challenging your decision, right? I feel like somebody might be challenging your decision, okay? Something like that. The page is also bringing in announcements, right? It's talking about things. It's kind of like discussions, and it's also kind of like putting yourself in a situation that you're going to be able to grow from, right? Absolutely. There's energy in this card. I feel like with the Page of Swords, there's energy here. You might be dealing with a younger person emotionally, right? Or you could be dealing with the emotional process of someone that is younger than you, okay? A whippersnapper, perhaps. Aries. You could be helping someone young or someone that's in a process that they are learning, right? You could be nurturing someone in a process that they are learning from because this is a page of swords in the moon position, and the moon is nurturing, and the pages are learning, and the moon can be a very good teacher, right? On a maternal level, okay? Absolutely. And the page is definitely welcoming change for sure. In the past, you might have dealt with a death, or you may have dealt with a need. You may have had to deal with a call to release or let go of something that you were affixed to, that you were holding on to, that you didn't want to let go. Okay, this could have been out of a fear of there being a void left after you let that thing go. This could have to do with, money. Maybe you lost money in the past with something somehow. It could have to do with some trickery or some kind of like seedy behavior, some behavior that wasn't good, something that you couldn't have controlled yourself. It was sort of like a weak point for you. Um, the death card is also talking about wisdom that comes through allowing yourself to transform through a process that may have challenged you so much that you didn't think that you would be able to get through it. And that's why you were so bent and obsessively over not letting it occur, right? Even if it was going to happen naturally. It's like you weren't letting yourself admit to yourself that something was changing, or that something was ending, or that something was dying, right? This is the purification of something too from the past, right? It's a clean slate with the death card. It's 13, so it's talking about restabilization after a loss, okay? Or it's talking about, um, once you realize and you allow yourself to let go of something that needed you to let go of it, okay? It's like not beating a dead horse, kind of. But then it's also kind of saying like you've got to let things kind of like leave your life when it's time for them to go, right? And there's wisdom in knowing that because that's going to continue to happen. It's going to happen time and time and time again, right? Just let those things happen, right? There's optimism that comes after that. Once you let something go, you've released it, give it away. You know, don't be afraid. For some of you out there who might be afraid of transformation or being afraid of a change, right? Not wanting to let go of something that you were used to, right? Because you have a fear of the newness. I'm so tired. Okay, let me continue. All right. Okay. Seven of Cups, Venus and Scorpio, Two of Wands, making some decisions, right? Understanding that uh, you yourself are making choices. You yourself are making some important um, applications to your life. It's like you're applying yourself in these meaningful ways so that you can see some results come from those applications, right? You might be applying for jobs, you might be applying for, an authoritative position somewhere, right? A leadership position, because this is Mars and Aries, okay? Um, you're thinking about your future. You're making choices that are going to benefit you in your future, right? And that's very important to you. Um, and I feel like you feel very good about making these choices, right? Or putting yourself out there. You feel very confident, right? You feel capable. You feel like you are that, you know what I mean? So that's good. You are that bitch. Okay. You have what it takes. You definitely have the wisdom, and you have the drive and the impetus, right? You're envisioning your future, and you're allowing yourself to use that as a tool. Okay. You're drawing a line from the now to the next. Pa- Page of Wands. Enthusiastic, excited about learning. Putting yourself in situations that you know are going to add to, the enhancement of who you are, right? And what you bring to the table. This is kind of like you not ever really being afraid to learn, right? It's always exciting to have something new or to be something new, right? So that's great. This is a high spirited energy. And with the two pages here being very compatible, I feel like it's going to be very harmonious with this energy of youthfulness in your life. Maybe if you're working with kids, or you're working with people who are, under you, okay? You're pulling out, you're extracting the best, right? Making choices about choosing the best, or choosing those that are capable of having an experience, or capable of putting themselves in a process that is going to see them to a successful position in the end of this process, right? Hopefully. Practicing their skills, you're practicing your skills, right? Learning from each other, collaborative efforts, things like that. Aries. Okay, energy moving forward, and the outcome is temperance. Okay, so you've come to a juncture, right? You're going to be making some decisions that are going to be pivotal to your enlightenment, and you moving forward, and just knowing a little bit more about what your purpose is what and what you are meant to do now, right? Where you're meant to go. This could be a change in direction for you, right? You kind of like were going down this road, you were getting somewhere, you were understanding that you had these goals and you had these expectations of yourself, and now your expectations might be changing, you know? Your goals might be changing. Some of them might be the same. You might be having to change the way that you go about achieving your goal. And that's what this is talking about. Oh, there's a hurdle there. I'm going to jump over it. Right? Or, this is kind of like when you get to that break in the land, and there's like a river, and then you have to like build build the bridge to get across, okay? Right? So this is definitely trying to achieve some level of balance in your spirit for sure in the future. You might be feeling rebalanced in your spirit, or you might be feeling re, re, recommitted to finding balance within your spirit. I believe this is Archangel Michael as well. So if you need help making this decision, maybe you need to call upon Archangel Michael whenever you're thinking about making this decision, or whenever you are, acutely aware of this place that you are in that is calling for you to really develop, okay, into a new state of being. King of Cups at the top of the reading in exactly the same place that Leo got it. And you got maybe one or two cards that Leo got. Three. Two sevens and the King of Cups. Sorry, Aries. Oh, this card is for you. I know, Raul. You got the same cards as them, right? Damn, Aries. Red card. Room. My nephew is an Aries, born April 15th. Okay, so yeah, the King of Cups is talking about, you just being mature in your emotional perspective and how you see um others and how they deal with their emotions and how you deal with your emotions, and it's just kind of like being the emotional authority in a situation, bringing a feeling of steadiness to the way you feel about something. You might be feeling more resolute, or you might be feeling like, okay, I've come to an understanding of how I feel about this specific thing. Oh, let me move on, honey. Your cards. Attraction. You attract romantic love by enjoying this moment fully. And also, pay attention to the red flags. The signs are cautioning you. I think I cut this already. You got Sun and Leo at the bottom of this deck. The Sun is exalted in Aries. You might be dealing with a Leo, or you might just be dealing with putting yourself out there and getting exposure, right? Aries, right? And just kind of like I said, you're understanding more things about yourself, right? Passionately, heart driven, honest energy, optimism, right? Vitality. You're enjoying life right now. But definitely pay attention to the red flags, because you're enjoying life right now. You're going to attract people, right? That may not have your best interest, right? Definitely pay attention to the red flags. And when you notice the red flags, right? When you notice the red flags, you might have to change your course. You might have to change direction. You might have to try to work with the elements in a different way than you intended to in the beginning. See what I'm saying? But that's okay. You're going to deal with it. You're going to be okay with that, Aries. The King of Cups, he's transformed many, many, many times. So he has a lot of wisdom about, you know, seeing a lot of different things. The King of Cups has seen a lot. Anyway, Aries, I love you guys. Like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram. I'm Providence Tarot. I'm also NYC Kendrick, and I'm Kendrick NYC. My food account is the Tongue Pop. Like I said to Leo, I'm doing a Cancer season and a July month special where I'm going to be doing 20-minute readings for $20. Email me at providencetarotkendrick@gmail.com and we can set that up. I receive the payment through Venmo and PayPal, okay? You're welcome. I hope that you got something out of this, Aries. There's some changes that are occurring. You have to make some decisions and some choices, right? A few of them. You're challenged by some truths and some real understandings of how you might be faring in a situation that involves some things that might have been said that aren't true, and that might have been toxic. Anyway, Aries, I love you guys. Like, share, and subscribe. Yeah, I read at Shanti Bookshop and Crystal Gallery on East 14th Street between 2nd and 3rd. The address is 230 East 14th Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenues in New York City, near Union Square. NYU, East Village area, right? That's where I be at now. Okay, so I'll see you guys later. Bye. It's a double video, so it's Leo and Aries, okay? Leo's at the beginning. And Aries starts at about an hour and 2 minutes, something like that.